Hi, my name is Anne-Marie and I'd like to show you a selection of my printmaking one course which I've been studying for the last couple of years. I've chosen two sections, part 4 and part 5, because they're my most favourite pieces of work I've done. So for part 4 then, I studied the circle, and to get myself going I made this very thick sketchbook called the Book of Circles, and in it are artist information and just lots and lots of drawings, collages, printing, cut up circles, absolutely anything you could think of to do a circle and a spiral. Really nice thing to do during lockdown, kind of kept me busy. Lots of lino cuts, lots of pencil drawings, and deconstructed. I tore the circle out and glued it in here. So that's my book, very thick, lots of information. And from the book I created some final pieces of work. My experimental pieces of the circle or spiral were on plate with some textured material, and then just inked up and printed. These are the best two prints I had. We took one with one colour, one with two. And then I experimented with CD discs and glued some materials onto it. So there's lace, netting, some plastic cut up and scratched on to see the marks, and obviously some bubble pack and some lovely Hessian fabric. And they came out quite beautiful actually. My final pieces, I was playing around with some carborundum. I have in some pots. And I printed a set of 4 of these, but these are the best two. And this is just a plate of a cardboard circle and carborundum sprinkled on with glue. And I printed these two kind of resonating circles. And it was lockdown and it felt like everything was kind of resonating around and a bit dark. You didn't know what was going on. So that's how they kind of evolved. And to counterbalance those, I made 2 lovely spirals in colour, because I thought we needed some colour during lockdown. Again, it's glue and carborundum and it's inked up. They came out really well. I quite enjoyed those. So for part 5, slightly deeper into lockdown now, and I decided to focus on our garden. We've got a lovely big garden here. So I created this garden book. So I'm going to show you some selected pages. Here is a lino cut on rose wrapping paper actually, kind of fits in with the theme of spring and the bees coming out to get nectar on the roses. And as I go through the book, I can't show you all of this because there's far too much in it, but it includes sketches of the house, drawings and paintings, lots of photographs of the garden too. I made some little lino cuts of insects. Snails feature quite a bit in my book. Here's some watercolour paintings I've done of them. All the daffodils are out at the time. This is more of the shed, which I was quite interested in drawing and painting. Made quite an interesting structure to explore. A little lino cut of a greenhouse I bought. More of the garden at the top. We had a little visitor in our garden, a pheasant, just flew across and come and ate things off my bird feeder. Drawings of birds. I'm going to skip along here because there's a lot of work in this book. I created myself a little home print studio, and I've got an X-cut press which I used to print my work from, so I couldn't work particularly large. And as I go through the book, I've explored drawing with monoprinting, drawing using chincolet with monoprinting, which is the tissue. And this is a bonfire we had. I'll go on a little bit further. Some lino cut work of the shed too, which was quite nice to do. The snails, again, absolutely love my snails. Here they are, all printed up. Only a tiny little lino cut I did. I did look at some artists, because we're in lockdown, obviously couldn't get to any exhibitions. So this is one I went to last year at the Tate Britain of Van Gogh. So he had lots of drawings of his boots and gardens, and some sketches of his gardens as well. And Angie Lewin and her beautiful work. I had a go at drawing a Van Gogh garden as well. Not based on mine, but it was one of his. Spiders, a beautiful big spider in our garden with a huge web that came between the sheds, and some work by Louise Bourgeois. And then I had a look at a snow globe idea, because it was locked down and we all felt a bit cooped up. The idea you were under the snow globe, but all the birds were free and they could fly away and we couldn't. And finally some artist information on Jim Dine. I've got some loose drawings here and some work by him, and lots of photographs of our garden as well, because it's springtime. There are some lovely flowers around. Because I explored monoprinting quite a bit in my sketchbook, I came up with these 6 prints, final prints, all to do with the garden: shed, the snail, some daisies, the pigeons, the little mouse, the strawberry, and finally my favourite, the snails over the rhubarb pots. And these are all created with tissue papers and various collage papers as well. And then we did have a fox in our garden as well. My daughter saw it, not me, but we did have a fox. So I made this lino cut and printed it on different kinds of papers. Some of these are Japanese papers, that's why they're quite floral, and some are wrapping papers. This is Japanese paper here, of a resting fox, because he curled up just to have a bit of a break. Anyway, I hope that's fine. That's a selection of my part 4 and part 5 print work. Thank you for looking.